Really? I wonder what was so important for Hichi to blow us off like that. If it wasn't to spend time with Hanako, then what could it be? It's really interesting.
Now this is starting to feel like an interrogation. I'm surprised at how Misha is able to exert such a feeling of pressure, without actually intending to do so.
Were you with Lily?
Out of nowhere, Hanako manages to stumble on the answer. She may be dreadfully quiet and shy, but she's very intuitive. What makes you say that?
Yesterday, Lily said something similar.
Oh god, no, why?
Suspicious. He-chan, I demand that you explain yourself.
Hey, shouldn't we be doing the assignment?
But it's so mysterious. Even Hanako wants to know.
I turned to look at Hanako. It's true. From the expression on her face, it's obvious that she wants to know as well. And I think we're past the point where I could weasel out of having to provide an explanation. Fuck you too. God damn it. I apologize to Lynn in my mind. She really did want to keep it a secret, but now it doesn't seem possible anymore. I feel a rush of conflicting emotions, so jumbled I can't readily identify them, but they crash around in my head as I try to calm down and speak. Alright, I'll tell you. I went into town with Lily, but it wasn't what you think. Lily and I were... For Hanako's birthday, we were... Cat is out of the bag. But it looks like Hanako's taking it a little better than I thought she would. A brief silence passes around our little group, as Shizune and Misha look at each other sheepishly. I can tell that they didn't expect their game to turn out like this. Misha looks up to Hanako in order to apologize, then pauses. Hanako is staring at the middle of a desk and barely moving, with a maudlin expression on her face. Guess I was wrong about her taking it well.
Hanako? I'm sorry.
There's a few seconds pause, but Hanako lifts and shakes her head.
It's okay.
Her expression looks odd, like she's very tired. That doesn't seem natural, but it's nothing alarming. Nobody really wants to continue with the current conversation, so we open our textbooks and begin our group work. Good job, you two! This is pretty dull. While the equations we're supposed to work out as a group will take a while, most of it is going to be boringly mechanical. Tense music. It also doesn't help that, while that didn't go as bad as it could have, it has left an awkward atmosphere around us. Still, we manage. Shizune's face betrays that she has about the same expectations of our work as I do, and two of us begin to write our group's results. Misha, on the other hand, is scrunching up her lips and visibly trying to make heads or tails of what we're doing. Hanako is looking on quietly, absorbing what we write and what I say. She usually has the same expression when the teacher speaks. It's a shame her attention is so unreliable, with the way she takes in information. I think she'd do quite well in class, if she actually followed the lessons regularly. I wonder if this might be why Shizune seems so hard on her.
Hey, Hanako, do you understand this?
Misha looks to Hanako, but I suspect her hope is more to find a comrade in ignorance rather than genuine help.
Not really, I guess.
I'm surprised by how tense she is in answering, but she settles back down. She definitely breathes out, and the way her upper body and head lower reminds me of a deflating balloon. You okay? I can go over this bit if you want. Hanako shakes her head slightly, but then again, I don't think she needs the extra explanation despite what she said. Misha quickly interjects, entirely oblivious. I ended up slowly going through how we ended up at one of our results, step by step. Times like this remind me that this kind of work may not be mechanical for everyone, but rather feels that way to me due to my grasp on the subject. It's a satisfying feeling. As Misha brings her bald fist into an open-handed realization, I discover another nice feeling. My explanation got through to her. Wow, not bad. As she manages to work out the next equation by herself with a minimum of guidance. Throughout all of this, Hanako is unusually unresponsive. She's normally very quiet, but one can still see her eyes roving periodically over the landscape of the classroom in front of her, or anxiously moving her hands in some way, or shifting her shoulders periodically. Right now, these small movements that I've gotten used to seeing all the time are missing. Something not moving at all is definitely weird. Even Misha can tell there's something wrong.
Hanako? Are you sure you're okay? Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm fine.
A little more strongly this time, but she turns away as she says it. It makes me doubt her answer, yet at the same time I can tell she doesn't want to talk about it any further. Having already had one very awkward conversation today that I'm still not fully over, I don't want to pursue the matter too much either. We settle back into our routine, debating over our answers whether a doubt comes up, but as time goes on, I notice that Hanako isn't talking at all. It's frustrating. She's made so much progress. Makes me a little angry at Shizune and Misha for undoing the surprise that they had wanted to keep so much. I know I'm at fault too. Maybe I could have kept it under wraps somehow. Shizune has noticed Hanako's silence as well, and she's also getting antsy. I can see it on her face. It's strange that even though she's deaf, Shizune has perceived Hanako's unusual quietness sooner than Misha.
Hanako, you've been too quiet. You have to contribute too. Someday, we might work on a bigger project, like one that's so big, it's worth celebrating afterwards, like with ice cream or cake. If you act like this, we won't take you along.
I can tell that they're trying to tease her to bring her out of her shell, but I don't think that this kind of approach will work on Hanako. It'll just make her feel worse. Guys, don't tease her like that.
Hey Chan, it's all in good fun. She-chan said that she teases everyone anyway.
They do back off though, with Misha moving away from the issue by asking me a question again. On seeing how difficult the problem she's working on is, I don't know whether it was a skillful dodge or mere coincidence. It takes way more of our time than necessary, because Shizune keeps disagreeing with me while I'm trying to explain it to Misha, and Misha is quick to believe her over me. So quick, in fact, that she forgets to translate what Shizune is saying. Hey, the clock is kind of ticking down. We should speed up a little.
He-chan, you sound a little like Shizune there.
Just because I looked at my watch? Geez, is that really all it takes? Time management is telling me I'm the student council president? I look at Hanako's desk to see how she's doing and freeze. Our papers are covered in equations, but Hanako's only halfway there. It seems like she hasn't written anything in the past 20 minutes. When I realize that, I want to kick myself for how dumb I've been. I should have known that someone as fragile as Hanako wasn't going to brush off what happened so easily, but I've been too eager to move on from an awkward situation to notice. She's been slowly shutting down for the last half hour, and I had no clue. Her pen is still in her hand, but she doesn't slowly spin it around like she usually does. There isn't a single idle movement from Hanako. The only fact that she tries to inch away once she feels Shizune, Misha, and me looking at her tells me that she's even still conscious. We look away, and at least in my case, it's probably out of shame that it's gotten to this point. Though, on the outside, she has shut down almost completely. I know that's a different story on the inside. What kind of things could she be thinking about as she tries harder and harder to shrink into herself, as if by willing it, she could somehow disappear? Everyone is looking at her now, stealing quick glances in between putting the finishing touches on the work. Misha attempts to ask her what's wrong, but it only makes the problem worse. If she weren't frozen to her seat, she would probably run out of the room right now. Misha's questions are loud enough to be heard throughout the entire classroom, and for a second I'm ready to snap at her, because I can only imagine how much worse it's making Hanako feel. Of course, if I were to do that, it would only make the situation worse. I believed that Hanako had gotten stronger, and she has! But it wasn't enough. I was too eager to believe it. Now she's terrified, alone in the middle of a classroom, and there's nothing I can do without drawing more attention to her. Fucking Misha and Shizune. It's infuriating. Misha's worried, and even Shizune is biting her lip. None of us know how to deal with the situation, so I decided to call Muto. His judgment would probably be better than ours, I hope so. I look up and manage to catch his eye, silently motioning for him to come over. I want to make as little of a fuss about this as possible, since if there's anything that would make this worse, it's more attention being focused on her. I know that Hanako can see everyone staring at our group, specifically at her, because they know that there's a problem, it has to be her. Everyone knows her, and it's the first thing anyone's mind would leap to. Her reputation for being a truant has marked her as an unusual person, even unusual in Yamaku. Who knows how many times they've stared at her before? Maybe it's because she's seen the class staring at her so much that she fears their gazes like she does, cowering from them. The time it takes Muto to walk over must be like an eternity to Hanako, and she looks as if she's about to fall over. Muto quietly begins to ask us what's wrong, before catching himself as he sees Hanako.
Did we upset her?
Don't worry. Muto bends down after calming Misha, and looks intently at Hanako's face. Hi, Ikuzawa, can I help you at all? His voice is hushed and gentle. Everyone's acting so differently around Hanako, now that the whole class has noticed something's wrong with her. Hanako doesn't respond, so Muto gently rests a hand on her shoulder. She starts shaking at his touch, but won't even look up. Hanako continues to stare into the equations at her desk, her vision so unfocused I doubt she even sees them. She's worse than before. I remember that not even an hour ago she was able to talk to him almost normally. Muto grimaces a bit as he stands again. Now that his expression's changed, I can see he wasn't exactly unaffected by what happened either. He takes a breath to settle himself before speaking in a very quiet voice. I'm a little impressed at how quickly he takes control of the situation. Is that it then? Nothing's wrong then? Muto seems to say this to no one in particular. However, his words sound convincing enough that most of the people who were looking up at Hanako now turn away, getting back to their work. He gives a quick glance to his left and right. Several people at the desk around us are still staring curiously, But other than that, we seem to have escaped attracting too much attention. Muto noticed me doing the same as him and smiled a little, in his usual stilted way. I think, for Ikuzawa's sake, it would be good to quickly take her somewhere away from others. Nakai, Hakamichi, could you please take Ikuzawa out of the classroom? I'll keep everyone settled, so please don't worry about anything but her, okay? He looks at Misha to tell her to interpret the words for Shizune, but she's already finishing her translation by the time he does so. It's remarkable how little thought she needs to sign. She still looks quite dazed otherwise. Nodding, Shizune and I stand and move to either side of Hanako. Muto steps back and allows us some room, and then talks to the table behind us, as some people there have begun to mutter between themselves about what's going on. We look at each other before lowering ourselves in unison, taking one arm around each of our shoulders and lifting. This is really, really bad. You're kind of at fault here, though you probably know that and you're probably feeling really bad, so I apologize for that, but it's also kind of Hisao's fault. My fault, whatever. We could have done a way better job of keeping that under wraps. We could have given such a better excuse as to why we were out with Lily. We could have just said, yeah, we were just, hanging out for the day. Just eating out in the city. I needed some help. I wanted to learn the layout of the city. And Lily, of course, being Lily, wanted to give me some direction, It's not that hard. Two of us begin to walk at a slow pace to make sure we don't inadvertently hurt her. As much as we try to make this look normal, I'm quite sure there would have been many more gazes on us if not for Muto's distraction. Eventually, thankfully, we reach the door and go through. Nobody's outside, so we walk down the hallway. It doesn't seem like it's making her more at ease than she was in the classroom. Finally, I ask her if she just wants to sit down. For a while, we simply stay in peace and wait for her to say something. Shizune tentatively rubs Hanako's shoulder a little, but there's no response. Eventually, she shakes her head a little when Shizune tries again. Both of us are looking at her, so we pick up on it immediately. Shizune's hand again comes to rest on Hanako's shoulder as she awakens, her face lifting to two very worried and anxious people looking at her. She looks at us silently for a moment. I'm really worried she might freak out or do something extreme, but those fears prove unwarranted as her expression slowly changes from almost a lifeless blank stare to almost normal withdrawn shyness. She wordlessly lowers her head, her eyes evasively moving to the side. She looks embarrassed, almost ashamed. I want to say something, anything to help. I can't, though. I don't really know what just happened or what even caused it. I feel helpless and ashamed of myself for not being of any use. Shizune sighs before looking at me. Even without words, I think I can tell what she's asking. I'll take Hanako to the nurse. Is that okay with you? I try to communicate my intentions through hand gestures, but I don't feel like I managed to get through to her very well. Shizune makes a very dreary face in response to my gesticulations, confirming my impression. She stabs her finger in the air decisively, first at me, then at Hanako, then towards the stairs. She waits for me to nod before pointing at herself, then pointing to the door of the classroom. I get the feeling Shizune is much better at this than I am. I nod at her, since her plan is, after all, the same as mine. Shizune gets ready to make her exit, only after looking at Hanako for quite some time. Are you okay with me taking you to the nurse's office? Hanako doesn't say anything, or nod, but she stands up in place by herself. When I begin to walk, she obediently follows. I've read about people being catatonic before, but I think this is the first time I'm seeing it for myself. She looks extremely tired. After everything that's happened, it's not a surprise. Wow! That was a situation that just happened. After Hanako silently takes off her shoes and lies on the bed in the infirmary, Nurse and I take our leave. He shuts the curtain behind us. We both take a seat. I quietly and thoroughly go through everything that happened in quite some detail. I want to understand what happened, and the nurse has as good a chance as anyone of knowing. He nods throughout my explanation, his face looking troubled as I finish. It must have been very troubling for you to have seen all this. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. I get that she fainted, but I don't really understand anything about why it happened, why she's acting like this. He nods, but his face is clouded. You don't know either? Well, yes and no. It's complicated. I assume you've heard about the concept of patient confidentiality at some point. This is a bit of a minefield in that respect. I'm gonna put this pretty bluntly, but this is a matter for Ikuzawa, me, and her therapist. I move to protest, but think better of it. I want to deny what he says, but if I think through this rationally, what he says makes perfect sense. I understand. Good. I wish I could help you more, but I think what Ikuzawa needs right now isn't someone prying into her past or her emotions. She just needs someone to be there for her. She just needs a friend. For what it's worth, I think you've done well bringing her here. Sounds like you and your friends dealt with the situation well too. I'd give you a lollipop or a sticker as a reward, but you might be too old for either. He gives a cocky grin, obviously trying his best to lighten the atmosphere. I'm not really in a laughing mood, but he does manage to get a smile out of me. Thanks, do you mind if I stay here with Hanako? I appreciate the thought, but I think it'd be better to let her rest for now. She'll be let back into her dormitory room this evening, so you could visit her then. I agree with him before standing. It feels like all I can ever do around the nurse is humbly agree to what he says. But it was the same with the doctors in the hospital, too. Walk back to the classroom is a long one, my mind feeling heavy under the weight of so many things happening so suddenly. Even as I re-enter the classroom, I'm thinking about Hanako. My stomach feels like it's turning into knots. While I think about how to deal with her, I still don't know what I'm going to say when I see her again. Thankfully, the class doesn't pay me much heed. There are a couple of questioning glances, but well, not many people seem to be very aware of what happened. Muto raises his eyebrows to get my attention when I pass by his desk. Nakai, I take it Igazawa's in the infirmary now? Yeah, I took her there. Nurse said I should let her rest. Muto nods, assuring me that I made the right call. He scratches his chin for a moment before rising from his desk. Everyone, I want you to continue with the exercise. Nakai, I'll see you in the hallway, please. His speech is hushed, but overall he doesn't seem to be acting too differently from how he usually does. Being a teacher, maybe it's to be expected. As we go out into the hallway, I notice him taking a quick glance left and right to check if there are any students milling around. Hallway's nearly soundless, but I can't think of anything except for waiting for Muto to speak. Nakai, what do you think the purpose of the school is? To cater to the needs of the disabled students? Muto scratches his head as he shakes it. No, if we wanted to do that, we would have built a whole new school from scratch. One floor, talking whiteboards, that kind of thing. Look around, Nakai. This school is about giving you all a future that you have been denied in regular education. Huh? Think of it this way. If we wanted you to graduate and go straight to a hospital, do you think we'd put in this much effort? The bluntness of Muto's statement temporarily stuns me, causing me to forget about the immediate situation. No. That's right. We want you all to leave here as useful members of society. I'm not quite sure I'm following you. I have high hopes for you, Nakai. You are possibly the first student I've had that gets my lectures. That isn't something that a teacher should be admitting so freely. What about Shizune? I mean, I guess she probably already knows all of it by now, but... You could easily take your studies of science well into university. Have you ever considered that? I can't say that I have. Well, what have you considered for your future, that is? I can't say I've put much thought into my future. For a moment, I'm distinctly reminded of Lily questioning me about the same subject. It's only been a little over 5 months since I was gasping for air on the ground. It's too soon to be thinking about the future, and besides, Hanako's problems seem much bigger to me right now. Muto gives me a disappointing sigh before continuing. Think of this place as an opportunity. Here you have boundless facilities, good teachers, plus the added bonus of the nurse and his staff. You should be doing nothing but thinking of the future. Right. As I raise my head to meet his gaze, a thought occurs to me. It's almost like Muto totally sidestepped the issue at hand. Excuse me, why do none of the staff seem to care when Hanako skips class? I've seen you watch her walk out of class more than once. Shouldn't you at least say something? Well, Nakai, it's not really that simple. Every student here has special needs. If it weren't for that, we wouldn't have a school here. For example, I wouldn't keep you in class if you were having trouble breathing, would I? But that's not... Muto cuts me up before I can even think about finishing my sentence. Ikuzawa's case is very much like that, but instead of CPR or a pacemaker, what she needs is time and space. The faculty was made aware of this from the day she arrived here. Thus, whenever she feels a need to leave classes, we let her do so. And, even though she isn't a star pupil, she seems to pass all of her exams, so it hasn't affected her ability to study. Isn't that enough? I open my mouth to protest, but I can't find a fault in his argument. While her condition does at first seem to be wholly physiological, its worst effects have been on her psyche. It still puts me off, though. Isn't he just passing on the responsibility for her problem? Surely she can't go on like this for her entire life. I understand that you may not be used to this kind of thing yet. It's been a big change for you. That said, it's less than a year until graduation now. Maybe you won't have to get used to this school. If you keep your head down, I'm sure you'll do well enough in your exams. I numbly nod, more to simply acknowledge that I'm listening than out of agreement. I felt like I was getting used to the school, but it feels like it's just been thrown back into my face. But what about Hanako? I believe, well, I hope, that she will perform well enough to do what she wants to do. What that is, I don't know. Not all students leave school with an idea of what they want to do, unfortunately. He takes care to emphasize the last word, as if it weren't clear enough already. He gives me a moment to mull his words over. Today's been a troublesome day for you, and I doubt you'd be able to concentrate much anyway after all that's happened. So, I'll allow you to take the rest of the day off. Your grades have been good in this class so far, which makes me think you won't have any trouble catching up on what we've been doing. He gives me a small smile, along with his praise, as if to make up for the seriousness of his lecturing before now. Go collect your things. I'll see you tomorrow. Right. Thank you. Mutao's roundabout speech has left my thoughts scattered. I'm still not any closer to working out what I can do to help Hanako. If anything, my mind is all the more confused after what Mutao said. I'm still bothered by the fact that Hanako was helped at least as much by Shizune, her enemy by proxy, as by myself. But I don't know whether that's just male bravado or a genuine concern. While I collect Hanako's and my things from the class, I continue to try to sort out my feelings. I want to say that I understand her, and that I'm here for her, but while I might have been able to say that just yesterday, I can't say it now. I wish I could. Yo, dude, you gotta get over these things. We were over them like 10 minutes ago. We need to get over them. I lay on my bed, trying to collect my thoughts. After Hanako's panic attack, I found myself fundamentally reassessing the relationship we share and what I know about her. I had a hard enough time dealing with 4 months at the hospital. One look at her scars tells me she was in there for a lot longer than I was. Be that as it may, I know next to nothing about her past. She's told me about the house fire, but only in the most basic way. And what of her family? I still haven't asked Lily about them. There hasn't been a good opportunity to bring it up. I don't know where she grew up, what her old school was like, nor of her past friends, her wishes and ambitions, not even her taste in music, food, and movies, all the little things I knew about all my old friends. Just what have I been doing for this whole time I've been here with her and Lily? In the distance, I hear the bells signaling the end of classes. With any luck, Lily will soon realize that neither Hanako and I are around and return to the dormitories. My mobile phone starts to ring, cutting my thinking short. It quite startles me, as I've rarely been called since coming to Yamaku. Hello? Hisao Nakai speaking.
Oh, Hisao. I'm glad I found you. You weren't at any of our usual places, so I thought this would be the fastest way to contact you.
Probably should have guessed it would be Lily, as she's one of the few people I've given my number to. Even through the phone, her voice sounds slightly on edge. Hanako and I left class early. She had some kind of panic attack. Line goes silent. If it weren't for the background static, I would have thought Lily had hung up on me.
I understand. Could you come by my room? I'd like to talk with you.
Sure, I'd appreciate the chance to have a bit of a talk, actually.
Good. I also have some bad news. I think we should discuss this in person.
It's hard to grasp the seriousness of the situation from Lily's tone. She sounds so calm most of the time, but that could be a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it. Okay, I'll be right there. I collect Hanako's school things from my desk and head straight for Lily's room. I rub my knuckles on the door, and she soon calls me in. Lily sits at the table inside her room, looking a little worse for wear, but I guess that's because of the bad news. Following her gesture of invitation, I sit across from her and lay Hanako's things down on the table. Well, there's no point in either of us waiting. Would you mind going first, Hisao? What happened today? My memory of the incident is already beginning to fade, but I explain it as best I can to Lily. Inviting Hanako to work with the group, Shizune and me just questioning, our foray of the town getting discovered, and the subsequent panic attack. I add Shizune's reaction, almost as an afterthought, but Lily seems to take some kind of comfort in hearing about it. I guess rivals don't become rivals for no reason. There must be some history there, but now's the time to explore it. I see. She had said that her therapist sessions were helping, but I had my doubts. It's quite a shame. Her birthday has caused problems before, but I had hoped that she would have improved with you around, and the more intensive therapy. Where's Hanako now? Last I saw her, she was in the infirmary. I guess she's gone back to her room by now. She wasn't in the library or the tea room when I checked, so I can only assume that too. You said you also had some bad news. What's the matter? Doesn't it concern Hanako? Lily shifts her position. The body's way of saying she's searching for the right words. My aunt has fallen gravely ill. I'm afraid I'm going to be headed back to Scotland to visit her, and to spend some time with my family. What? Is she alright? When do you leave? I'm not altogether sure exactly of how she's faring at the moment, though last I heard she was stable. I'll be leaving Saturday, at the earliest flight I could get. Stable. That's code for needs to stay in the hospital. I've been stable long enough to know that, and to know that it doesn't necessarily mean someone is in good condition, but merely treading water. On the upside, stable is much better than critical condition. At least she's not on the brink of death. Stable. That's a relief. Yes, but this means I won't be here for Hanako's birthday. I wanted to tell you now, so we could think of something before we told Hanako, but after today's events, I'm not even sure if there's going to be an issue if we simply cancel the party. I don't think that's such a good idea. Hanako already knows we're planning a party now. To go back on that would be like the wrong thing to do. Also, we should do something for you going away, right?
You make it sound as though I won't be coming back. If all goes well, I should only be away for a week, though possibly 2.
That's one relief, at least.
With that in mind, what do you suggest then?
Given the circumstances, I don't think karaoke is really appropriate. You're not going away for the greatest of reasons, so having too much fun would feel wrong. What did you do for her birthday last year?
Last year, I literally couldn't get her out of her room. She'd locked the door. All I could do was leave food outside for her, making sure she was at least eating well.
This is perhaps the most depressed I've ever seen and heard Lily act. I feel sorry for her, given how defeated she must feel to be unable to help her closest friend. Perhaps it would be better to throw the party before you leave, then?
That does sound like it would be the easiest option.
I think we should at least tell Hanako, both about your trip and her party. Everything's from class as well.
And that's a good point. Should we go and visit her now?
I think that would be a good idea. Part of me is dying to see Hanako. Last time I saw her, she looked like death walking. And these last few hours have torn me apart just thinking about that. I'm gonna need some water. This is gonna be fucking one hell of a scene. We quietly get up and file out of Lily's room. Hanako's room is next door in the same hallway, so I guess it is probably that one right there. If we're, assuming, whatever. Knocking lightly gets us no response, but the door proves to be unlocked. Lily pauses for a moment as the handle unexpectedly moves under her hand before opening the door. Hanako's room is startlingly bare and monotone. There are no decorations on the plain white walls, a plain dark blue blanket, and only a few books, papers, and purely utilitarian items on the shelves. We got some kind of... looks like a chalkboard eraser. An alarm clock. Tissue box. I can't really tell what this thing is. We have a lamp. Textbooks. Some kind of jug for serving tea, probably, or coffee. And possibly tea, coffee maker right here. Books. And that's about it. Even her bed sheets are monochrome. The entire room feels as subdued as Hanako's character. Hanako herself is laying curled up on her bed. She may not be crying now, but her eyes are closed tightly to stop herself, and the tracks left by her tears still sit on her reddened cheeks. I quietly walk in and set her bag down on her desk, afraid of startling her too much.
Hello, Hanako. Hisao told me about what happened today. Are you alright?
Hanako's eyes open, though only a little.
I'm okay.
She tilts her head slightly to look at me, noticing my grimming face before I can hide it.
Sorry for making you worry. Really, I'm fine now.
She really doesn't look nor sound okay. Though, at least she seems to be more calm than she was before, she still looks as if the slightest breath could emotionally break her. I said it before, right? You don't need to be sorry for this.
Hisao's right, I shouldn't have hidden something like a birthday celebration from you.
I see Hanako shiver at the word. Lily picks up on the silence that follows, and crouches down to Hanako's level.
I'm the one who should be sorry, Hanako.
Hanako's eyes open to peer at Lily. She looks at Lily for some time, taking in her face with those dark, analytical eyes of hers. Lily must have made a very impression on her, as Hanako recovers enough to prop herself up on the bed, and shift to sitting on its side. Hanako worries about many things, but troubling others is foremost among them. Hearing Hanako shuffling, Lily moves forward and feels at the side of the bed, eventually taking a seat beside her, and taking Hanako's left hand in both of hers. I think you're, maybe on the wrong side, or maybe you were holding her, I don't know. Feeling of me being out of place when the two are together has lessened in the time that we've known each other, but still occasionally very much there. This is one of the times, I think. Lily, if you want me to go...
I don't want that.
Lily and I are both surprised at Hanako mustering courage. I have mumbled, okay, it's all I can give her in reply as I take her desk chair to sit in.
Hanako, I'm afraid I have some bad news.
So, Lily's gonna break the news now. With Hanako having affirmed our relationship so clearly, perhaps Lily thought the timing was good, or at least as good as it will ever be.
My aunt has fallen ill, so I'll need to return my family for a time.
Concern replaces Hanako's remorseful expression.
Your family? You mean in Scotland, right? Oh, that's right, Kira and I will be leaving Saturday. So you're going away? I won't be gone for long. Probably only a week or two. I'll be back before you know it, and Hisao will be here, right?
That's right, I'm not going anywhere. Hanako seems to take only minor comfort in this, but she does manage to summon some resolve from somewhere inside her.
Is your aunt gonna be alright?
I'm not sure. Silence falls. It's depressing that the thing to truly bring Hanako out of her rut is another's misfortune. I decide to bring up the other matter that brought us here, to distract at least in part from the dismal feeling permeating the room. Anyway, we were thinking that it would be good to have a going away party for Lily, and it could double as... yeah. I cut myself off before mentioning her birthday, as it seems that to be a trigger for such fierce emotions within her. Lily gives Hanako's hand a gentle squeeze.
Is it alright with you, Hanako? It won't be anything lavish or overdone. Just something small in my room. So, just in the school? Just us? That's right, just the three of us. If you'd like, I could even ask Akira to come visit as well. Okay. You're only gonna be gone for a week? 1 week or 2, yes. I promise you it won't be any longer.
That word. I don't like that word.
Okay.
Most people would be upset about hearing about a friend's family member falling ill and happy at having a party. But with Hanako, it seems that both events are on the same level. Alright then, you two look like you need a rest, Hanako, so it might be best if we all went back to our rooms for now.
You know that if you ever want anything, you can come and talk to me, or Hisao, right?
Lily's voice is pensive, an unusual edge for someone as confident in herself as she is.
I understand. Thank you, Lily. Hisao.
Well then, good night, Hanako.
Night.
I let out a long breath after the door closes behind us. It feels a little like I've been deep underwater, and only now I've been able to come up for air. Lily doesn't seem to be doing well either. She looks pale and drawn. Are you alright?
I'm just a little tired. It's been hectic recently.
Have you slept at all? A little tired sounds like an understatement given how you look.
I think I managed to get a couple hours of sleep before class. I'll be okay.
I feel bad about pressing Lily right now. I think both of us are pretty tired from everything that's happened as well. I think you should get some rest. It's been a big day, and staying up isn't good for your complexion.
Well, thank you for your concern, Hisao. Good night.
Okay, night, Lily. I leave Lily in the hallway as she opens the door to her room, and begin to make my way to my own. As I walk down the quiet hallway, I can't get that image of Hanako out of my mind, huddled and pitiable, lying helpless with tears on her cheeks. I began to think that she was just a normal, if extremely shy person, but her problems run much deeper. Trying to take our relationship further than what we share now, which is so fragile and vulnerable, wouldn't be right. I don't need to be more than her friend in order to protect her, to try and stop anything like this from ever happening again. The possibility of my feelings for her going beyond that doesn't matter anymore. Hanako is precious to me, and that's why I can't take advantage of her. But even so, there's still that sting I feel when I think that way. For now, I need to sleep. Tomorrow, hopefully, will be a better day. Oh, I thought we were done the act. I guess not. Probably like a couple more scenes and then we'll be done with this act, and then we'll be on to another one, you know?